What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another superstar from the sport of mixed martial arts. Today, we get to talk to featherweight Jeremy Kennedy, who's got a big fight coming up. It's February 25th. They're out in Dublin, Ireland. His opponent, Pedro Carvalho. Early start time on this Saturday. It's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Showtime. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing, my man? The co-main event, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, superstar. That's a nice intro. I appreciate that.
Of course, 18-3. You're
Yes,
no
sir.
joke.
Oh,
Five
yeah.
out of your last 6 have been wins.
Yeah.
The last one ended unfortunate, but it wasn't it was out of your hands, I imagine. Is how you felt about it. How do you count that win in terms of you got paid, you get the W, you move on, but what about that satisfaction? I know you guys want to choke someone or knock someone out and then, jump on a cage and roar with the fans, but this was different. So
yeah, it's unfortunate, especially with how the fight was going. I felt really good. I felt that finish was close.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like itching for that second round to start, but he's hurt. He's unable to continue, and that's what it is. It happens in the sport. It was like a weird 4 or 5 week in a row between the UFC and Bellator and all these major promotions that people were getting injured, especially in the co-main and main events, So it was just a weird timing and no coincidence or anything. It's just things happen, and it is what it is, man. I felt like I had a good showing. What I wanted to work on, I was able to implement for the most part. It was just more of being robbed of cage time. I was out for a while because of the injury prior to that, right at the last minute. And then the Sanchez fight was the December of 2021. So I only got one fight last year and it was one round, so I was just itching to keep going and then get one booked right away. And that was probably best case scenario out of the whole situation was that I was healthy. I was fresh. I was good to go. There was a date, location, opponent, all kind of ready for me. And that was set up and put together pretty quickly after the fight. So I've known about this fight forever, it seems like, and so I'm just excited to get out there.
In between rounds, were you hoping that they would jar the shoulder back in so you could finish the job, or was there more of a concern? You guys are all kind of like in the fraternity of the brotherhood of fighters. Was there more concern like, hey, I hope he's all right? Like, what were you feeling at the time? Do you remember your emotions?
I was trying to really still kind of figure out exactly what had happened. I was during the minute I was getting, instructions, and then I kind of looked over Eric's shoulder and I could see them torquing on it. And that's when I was like, okay, man, what's going on? Maybe there's something, that this isn't going to go. I was ready to go. When I stood up and there was still a lot of confusion, doctors coming in and talking and a couple minutes after. So I was just more of it's out of my hands. I'm good to go. I'm ready to start this bell. And if he can, I'm just, you don't want to make it worse. And even looking at the videos after of them, reefing on it, I was like, man, that could have done a lot more damage than it was just had he just done it, and they might have been able to pop it in properly or whatnot. But in the heat of battle, in the heat of moment, people started torquing on it, So it is what it is. I was just looking hopefully that it wasn't too bad for him, and then it ended up turning out not to, which is good. I think he had surgery. He's good to go, and he's looking to get booked again. So that's all I wanted to see. I would hate for a fellow guy, my division. He's a young guy and have bright future to have a serious long-term injury come from that.
I know you got Carvalho ahead of him. We'll get to that in just a sec. But do you want to fight Pico in the future just to close that chapter, or have you moved on?
Yeah, I mean, I've moved on, but if it makes sense for me, I'm always game for that again, But I think after Pedro, I'll have sights even higher. I'm looking up. I'm looking at that title shot after Pedro. So who knows how the landscape's going to run? He's a young guy. I'm young. We're in this game for a while. Like I said with the Borks fight, I know it's always going to be there. So I know that's another guy that's going to be around too, Pico. So I'll have my time.
Traveling sucks for most people. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. You're going pretty far. You're not just going to the Tampa, Chicago. You're going overseas, so you have to acclimate to the jet lag, and the 9-hour time difference. I believe it's going to be.
Yeah.
But you are going into a hostile territory, not necessarily against an Irishman per se, but either way, it's going to be an electrifying crowd. You got to give Ireland that, like they really love combat sports. So how pumped up are you about venue, location, and fighting in front of that crowd?
That's huge. That was like part of my driving force to be able to, commit and volunteer myself, going out of country and fighting like that. So Dublin is something everyone wants to experience, and that crowd, everybody that's fought there, that lives, that trains with me, and like Patchy and whatnot, they've all been telling me how cool this crowd is and how you got to experience it, so it's just all part of the experience and part of when I look back at my career, I fought all over the place, and this is just another one of those crowds that you want to experience. That it's up there with Japan, and I've been to Brazil, I've experienced that crowd, Australia, fought in the Middle East. So I'm not uncomfortable flying and traveling. I haven't done it in a few years because of COVID, but I'm excited to get back to that part of this fight game, and just experience this whole other crowd. I'm not really worried about the hostile territory necessarily. It's just all noise once you're in there anyways. He is a hometown guy, but Pico was a hometown guy in California, and Volkanovski was a hometown guy in Australia. Hani Jason was a hometown guy in Fortaleza, Brazil. So that's not something I'm uncomfortable with or not used to at all.
Jeremy, we've always known you as just kind of a calm, cool, collected cat. What are your nerves like from fight to fight? Does it feel different for you?
A little bit, just the fight itself. It's that's everyone. You're getting in a fist fight, and there's going to be a lot of people watching, and a lot live crowd and whatnot. All that kind of builds up throughout the week, but it's more of just I've done this my whole life. I've been fighting since I was 16, fighting on the big shows since 2016. So like coming on 6-7 years. It's just something it's my life, and then every time it gets a little bit easier, but it's still never easy. It's just more of focusing on the weight leading up to the fight, and then as soon as you make weight, you've seen them, you're face to face, you do the weight face offs, and I'm just ready to go at that point. You just flip that switch. So for the most part right now, it's just such a weight management thing, especially traveling and getting my food all organized for the day it takes to get out there and adjusting to acclimating to the time and everything like that. So my mind is busy right now anyways.
Jeremy, when we first talk to fighters, we hear them talk about how the organization comes to them and says, this is what we have for you. Yeah. And then all it takes is one big win. And that kind of turns around into, this is what I want, where the fighter's telling the organization. Could this fight be that fight? Do you feel like at the end of this fight, you could tell them, this is what I want, this is where I want it, that sort of talk?
I mean, I really hope so. I think it all depends on it. It does still have to work both ways. That's why this fight with Pedro fell so perfectly. This is what I asked for, when I wanted it, against who. And I don't think that'll change with the win. I think Pitbull needs another contender, and he's going to be looking to fight again. And I'll be ready, as soon as they want. And I mean, as far as timeline wise, I think I can have a little bit more of a say. But again, at the end of the day, when you're the challenger, until you get that title, you don't necessarily have too much pull. But yeah.
Jeremy, I just want to give you a heads up. I think you might have a spy in the back. Make sure
I was
that's
just going to say, can I pause you guys for 1 second? Dad, you're not hiding anywhere.
Carvalho's camp, maybe?
Sorry, I can see you guys.
Is he from Carvalho's camp?
Yeah. Sorry? Carvalho Spies.
SBG didn't send a spy or something.
Yeah, right?
We're obviously goofing. We're having
That's
a good
my parents. They flew in town. They're flying out to Ireland actually with me too.
Nice.
She has her car there.
They flew in from Ireland, you said?
No, they're flying out to Ireland.
Oh, they're flying to Ireland.
Well.
Okay.
So they just kind of came here from Vancouver to be able to.
So it's a whole family affair then.
Oh yeah. We got my wife flying out a few days later. I got Kai came in from Hawaii, and he comes with me. Coach Eddie, Eric. So we're gonna have a big crew out there.
Man, that's awesome. And I messed up. Carvalho is part of SBG. I didn't know that. I knew he was Portuguese.
Yeah.
So it will be hostile, a little bit of a hostile territory.
Definitely a hometown guy, yeah. He's been representing them for a while, and he's, I guess, an adopted Irish guy. Irish Portuguese, whatever you want to say it, but SBG is all it is. So he'll be a hometown guy to me.
That's awesome, though. That'll make the win even better for you.
Definitely.
He's a veteran. He's fought for Bellator a lot, and he's been in their Grand Prix. So this would be a huge dub for you.
Mm-hmm. Biggest thing too is ranking wise. I'm constantly trying to fight up, and I have been my whole Bellator career. It seems this is the fourth. This will be the fourth top 5 guy in a row. Borks was at 1 or 2. Sanchez was 4 when I fought him. Pico was 4. Now Pedro's 3. It's just keep chipping away at these top 5 guys, and then that's just where I get that ranking and I get that title shot.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, I love your cap. A shout out to the Vancouver Grizzlies, founded in 1995. Now they're the Memphis Grizzlies. You just like the colors, the retro look, or were you a fan of other sports growing up?
Yeah, I was a fan of other sports, but MMA's been my all in ever since. But I do just like the color and representing Vancouver a little bit of retro, old school. We don't have any. We got the Vancouver Canucks, but being a Canadian, following all hockey is a little cliche. So I just like repping the Grizzlies a little bit more, and just a little bit of Vancouver, West Coast, hometown vibes.
When the Canucks were in the Stanley Cup final, I don't know if it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was down there. I wasn't doing anything.
All those fights, you weren't looting and
no, I was watching.
You guys lost that game 7?
Yeah, seeing people running out of tailor suits and everything, it's just nuts. But
that was one of the craziest scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was down there. I got out of there after, but they had blocked all the sky trains getting out of the city. So it was if you were down there, you were kind of stuck down there anyway. So I was guilty by association, but I did get to experience it. But there's no videos. There's nothing of me doing anything wrong because I didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't flip a police car?
No, I didn't light it on fire. Nothing like that. No.
Okay, just checking. I think you're past statute limitations.
No, still, honestly, it wasn't.
We were kind of chatting before the interview started about the start of the Memphis Grizzlies. And Bryant Reeves was Big Country. So now the question is, who's Big Country first?
What's that?
He might have been Big Country before Roy Nelson was Big Country.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
What's funny is Goz and I were at Bellator 290, the last one that they just had here in.
Me too. I was out there.
And we walked by the Forum Club. It was Bellator 290, and we walked by the Forum Club, and it's featured on the HBO show Winning Time because they focus on the 80s Lakers. And I was telling Goz, right where we came out right here, the Lakers had celebrated a win over the Detroit Pistons, I believe, a Game 7. I walked out, and this limo driver was honking the horn, trying to get people to get out of the way. You should have seen the way everyone turned on him, man. They started jumping on his limo. He couldn't go anywhere because the limo in front of him was taken, but because he was honking, there must have been about 20 people on the limo, just cracked the windshield. I may have partaken somewhere along the ways, but it's literally over 30 years ago, so I can just tell the story and it feels
you can finally get it out, air it to the public. Man,
it's crazy when a team wins or loses.
And it's just the crowd builds off momentum. Yeah, exactly. Near the end of that in Vancouver there, that was people didn't even know what they were rioting for anymore. They were just I can walk into this store and loot and get away with it. But I think it was a year or 2 investigation of all the social media and everyone slowly getting tracked down and whatnot. But it was a crazy time, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, good luck with the fight against Carvalho. We'll be tuning in on Showtime, 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on Showtime on February 25th. Of course, whatever's left of that camp, be safe. Same with the weight cut and the travels, and go out there and do your thing, Jeremy. It sounds like 2023 is leading you towards a potential title shot. That'd be tremendous.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.